Am I the asshole? Because I ate early. We're on vacation with my husband's family. We got here Sunday afternoon. And I was hungry. I made food for myself and my son. My husband said to wait for his family so we could all have dinner together or maybe even go out. It was around 4 o'clock. And he was saying we'd eat at 7. I said I was hungry. And my son and I ate. After that, the three of us sat by the pool. His family arrived around 6. And everyone was hungry and wanted to go out to eat. I don't know if it was the traveling or what. But I was exhausted. So I said I was too tired and would go to bed early. My son stayed home with me. Because he wasn't hungry and wanted to stay. I woke up early this morning. And I made tea and sat by the pool while my son played. When my sister-in-law woke up, she came out to the pool and told me off for eating early. Not going to dinner and being so standoffish. She said everyone wanted to see me and my son. And I was being such a bitch. I said I was tired from traveling. She said if I forced myself to stay awake, I'd be on the same schedule as everyone else. But since I went to bed early and woke up early, I was going to have the same excuse tonight. She also told me off for not making breakfast when I was the first to wake up. But I didn't know when everyone was going to wake up. And no one wants cold breakfast. She just rolled her eyes and walked away. I feel like everyone's been standoffish to me all morning and I'm wondering if I should apologize. Was I an asshole? Not the asshole. It was travel day. And you were hungry and tired. She also told me off for not making breakfast when I was the first to wake up. Is that a rule for your family when you do family events? Shit like this is why I don't do group vacations. Not the asshole. When your body is sending hunger signals, you should eat. Waiting 3 hours to do so is ridiculous and unhealthy. And your child's bedtime would have likely occurred during the time they were out for dinner. So pretty inconsiderate of them to not include that as a factor when choosing a dinner time. And these people are adults. They cannot get themselves breakfast. Lol. There's got to be more to this, right? She just called you a bitch out of nowhere. Planning a big get-together with a synced meal schedule on a travel day is an awful idea. It would be reasonable to ask someone to wait to eat if it was half an hour or so. 3 hours is ridiculous. Suraimo. I'd say you're not the asshole for feeding your kid. I also think you could have had something at 4 that was more of a snack to keep you going until 7. I'm an early eater too, and I would be beyond hangry if I had to wait 3 hours to eat. However, I think you're the asshole for how you handled the situation. There was nothing stopping you having a snack and still going to dinner. I think the not going to dinner was rude if you're all meant to be holidaying together. You are not the asshole and your sil is a piece of entitled work. Ignore her. Definitely not the asshole. My sil got married in Cozumel in 2018. They got there on Tuesday. Everyone else arrived Thursday, Saturday wedding. We had a very long day of travel and didn't make it more than 20 minutes into dinner before we had to beg off or we would have fallen asleep at the table. No one cared, they totally understood, and the rest of the weekend was great. Absolutely not the asshole. I don't get the commenters that are critical of the op. Food and sleep are basic necessities. All sort of family obligations should come second. Even more when there is a 4-year-old child in the mix. Unless that is the one and only evening to socialize with the family, and it doesn't seem so from the context. That is absolutely unnecessary level of imposed conformity. Op would have time to meet everybody and talk to them the next day and evening. if they didn't decide to take that personal and be standoffish with her. Info. How old is your son? When is his bedtime and how grumpy was he from traveling? As a mom of a 1-year-old, screwing with bedtime and taking a grumpy toddler to dinner is hell for the mom, so I could definitely see why she wouldn't want to go. Depending on how long the rest of the trip is and how OP is with spending time with everyone the rest of the time. I don't see it as a big deal. In my family everyone has their quirks and we're not always together for every second of vacation. Not the asshole. Why is everyone on a damn schedule the first night? I get that you should spend time together, but then to also expect you to make breakfast just because you woke up early. She's just looking for something to fight about. She's making assumptions. Vacations are for relaxing, not to be on the go. Obviously make time for dinner, but it doesn't have to be every night. Not the asshole. If it's the first day of the vacation, haven't you got the rest of the time to eat together and generally hang out? Or is it a rule that you have to be around each other at all waking hours and have the same wake schedule? Nat. Last thing anyone wants is hangry kids. Wait 3 hours to eat after, right? Keep your kid deprived of food too. And getting told off for going to bed. Essay vacation. Your in-laws sound like a headache. You did nothing wrong. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Traveling affects people differently. Forcing yourself to stay up may work for some, but it doesn't work for everyone. You did what you needed to do for yourself and your son. Do not apologize, you did nothing wrong. That lady needs to make her own breakfast. Not the asshole. The day of traveling arrival is the whatever happens day. You can try for activities or group meals, but basically the whole day is dedicated to everyone and their belongings arriving to the vacation in one piece. Had they actually wanted everyone to attend that dinner, then they should have planned it earlier. Most young kids are heading towards bed around 7 p.m. They are not eating dinner. Also, your sil is an asshole for thinking you should be making everyone breakfast because you were up first. They are grown adults and can make their own damn food. Info. Is there a pattern at play here? Have you vacationed with your in-laws before? Do you frequently wind up needing to go to bed earlier than the people you're hanging out with? And then waking up way earlier than them to continue the cycle? Or was this just sil inventing a problem before it happened? Info. Are there any other young children on this trip? And this is why you can't travel with everyone. Not the asshole. How TF can someone be on vacation if other people are telling them what they can and cannot do? FTS. What's the timeline? You arrived in the afternoon. 8. Slept. Made yourself breakfast when nobody else was up yet, so maybe 12 to 18 hours. How long is this vacation? Did you blow the only night you had available? WTF. It sounds like your in-laws are self-centered and only are satisfied if you play by their rules. I might understand that they express disappointment at not seeing you at dinner. But you should have made everyone breakfast because you woke up first is a bit of a leap. Not the asshole. But if this attitude towards you keeps up, maybe you should be. She absolutely should not have spoken to you that way. But excluding yourself from family vacation activities and then not understanding why some people might be standoffish with you. I didn't socialize with them and now they won't socialize with me. I don't understand. Am I the asshole for telling my roommate that her anorexia is not my problem? We are both 23F. It's been getting into the 90s F where we live. So I've been turning on the AC when I get home. I also work a physically intense outdoor job, so I come home really sweaty and exhausted from the heat. The apartment will stay cool enough for me to fall asleep, but then later on I'll wake up in the middle of the night completely drenched in sweat. I'll then get up and find out that my roommate has been switching the AC off while I'm sleeping. This really upsets me because it's been making me really dehydrated and tired to begin with from not sleeping well, and it's been impacting my work. She's unemployed right now, so I thought she might have been hung up about the power bill. When I finally talked to her about it, I explained that I'm already very sensitive to heat to begin with, and that because we're fortunate enough to have AC, I want to enjoy it when I get home, especially after a long day at work, and that the heat is causing problems for me. I even offered to foot some of her share of the power bill if she was really that concerned about it. But then she said that she turns it off because the apartment gets too cold. I should add that our AC is set at 70 and has never been moved lower than that. I told her that she should just use some blankets or put a sweater on if it was really bothering her, because the heat is unbearable. She then countered by saying that because she's in recovery from anorexia, she's really sensitive to cold and that I'm not prioritizing her needs. I then responded by saying, "I'm sympathetic to your situation, but that is your problem and not mine. And it is starting to have a negative impact on me, and we need to find some middle ground here. Because I can't take off my skin when it gets too hot." She then got extremely upset and angry and told me that I was being ableist and insensitive. I'm kind of bothered by this because I've also had struggles with eating disorders in the past, so am I the asshole here? Additional info from a comment I made so it doesn't get buried. I see a lot of people making the assumption that I'm completely unwilling to compromise with her or that I'm set on having it at 70. During our talk I offered to adjust the temperature, but she wants it completely off. Not adjusted. Off all the way. And that was what made me angry. Not the asshole. Heat and cold are two different beasts for finding solutions for. You can wear warmer clothing much easier than you can shed your skin to get cooler. She can also block her vents. No need to shut the air off entirely. Plus, it directly affects the quality of your sleep. Not the asshole. Coping mechanisms are an important part of recovery. Not everyone else must accommodate me and be uncomfortable because my comfort is all that matters. Due to my situation. That, actually, is kinda the opposite of recovery. Blankets are a good start. Not the asshole. You were right when you said that she can add layers. But you can't take off your skin. She can even get a heated blanket. This isn't your problem. I'd be pissed too. Additional info because I see a lot of people making the assumption that I'm completely unwilling to compromise with her or that I'm set on having it at 70. During our talk I offered to adjust the temperature, but she wants it completely off. Not adjusted. Off all the way. And that was what made me angry. Not the asshole. Coming from someone who gets insanely cold all the damn time. She can use more blankets. You can't take off your skin like you said. She needs to compromise. Not the asshole. She can wear sweaters if she needs to. You can't do anything to cope with the heat but sweat in it. Sorry you're dealing with this op. Not the asshole. You should not have to compromise your health to accommodate her. I would start looking for alternative accommodation. She won't compromise and you probably need to relocate to somewhere you can be comfortable. Not the asshole. Ask her how she'd like it if you turned the heat off in the winter. I'll say not the asshole. I grew up in zero temps. Later I moved to where temps reach over 100 degrees. It's much easier to bundle up to stay warm than it is to remove layers and cool down. There's only so much removing you can do. Not the asshole. It's much easier to put on heavier pajamas or add a blanket to your bed than try and cool yourself without AC. Maybe a compromise of 72 degrees. Not the asshole. I'm frequently freezing in AC. Like it's planet Hoth in my apartment and it's only set to 73. That's a reasonable request you made. It's easier for us to put on more clothes or grab a blanket than for you to just remove your skin. Per se. There's gotta be a middle ground. Not one person's health over another. Not the asshole. It's 90 degrees. She can put on a damn sweater. Not the asshole. I've always preferred cold weather. Because it is a lot easier to add layer of clothes and blankets. Naked is generally not accepted in public or practical at home when you don't live alone. Not the asshole. 70 degrees is a reasonable temperature and she owns a hoodie. Not the asshole. I think you handled it really well and offered a compromise. You weren't ableist at all. Nor did you disrespect her eating disorder. Not the asshole. Also, why can't she just shut her AC vent at night? Or get a magnetic cover to block the cold air blowing in? Not the asshole. She can wear sweats to bed, add another blanket or grab a space heater. I read the title and assumed it would come down to phrasing. But damn. Not the asshole. Like others have said, it's a lot easier to warm up from cool than cool down from warm. Her having struggles doesn't take away from what you deal with, and she should also be considerate of your needs if she is asking for consideration of her needs. Not the asshole. Like you said, she can always put on more blankets. You can hardly take more cloth off. Not the asshole. This is exactly what layering and snuggly blankets are for. You're not asking for it to be sub-zero. You just want it to feel comfortable enough so that you can rest and get some decent sleep. Not the asshole. She can wear a sweater and cover up in blankets. I'm a hot sleeper too, and it's fucking miserable being woken up constantly. BC, you're sweating. You're right in that you can't take your skin off when you're too hot. Not the asshole. She can put on a sweater. You can't remove more clothes. Can you ask her to block her vent? If she closes it and puts a magnet over it, that should help keep her room a lot warmer. Oh, and not the asshole. I can't sleep when I'm hot, and I've had a lot of roommates over the years who may as well have been reptiles. They ran so cold, so I know this struggle well. Not the asshole. You're willing to find middle ground, but she just wants her way. Not the asshole. I get cold faster than everyone in my house. I grab a hoodie or throw blanket. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You shouldn't have to overheat and potentially get a heat stroke when she could just wear a sweater. Not the asshole. Bump the thermostat up and get a fan. Roommate can get a blanket and turn off her vent. As my grandma would say, you can put more clothes on, but there is only so much you can take off. Not the asshole. Room temperature is 68-72. Tell her to buy a portable heater. Not the asshole. She has solutions all around her. She can wear an extra layer. She can add another blanket. You aren't being ableist, and you handled this like an adult. Not the asshole at all. Am I the asshole for friend-zoning a girl after finding out she has a kid? I have been trying to get back into the dating game after a recent divorce. Me and my ex do not have any kids. And I have always been adamant that I never want children literally since I was a kid myself, haha. Well, as you can guess, dating at 30 when you don't want kids isn't exactly easy. But I'm still drawing a line there personally. Well, on to the story. I have been casually seeing this girl, let's call her Sarah, for a few weeks now. We have never been intimate in person beyond kissing and some casual touching and flirtiness. But we have had some steamy text conversations. Well, the other day Sarah and I decided to have a few drinks and a movie night at my place. The real agenda was for us to finally have physical intimacy. And she would stay the night. The night is going well. And everything is great as it has been up until now. But out of nowhere Sarah just casually mentions that her child's father has been a pain in the ass lately. And she is so glad she doesn't have to deal with him as a partner anymore. Naturally, I was a bit caught off guard. So I asked her to clarify that she does indeed have a kid. She stated that she did, but didn't think it was relevant to us as we hadn't been seeing each other for very long. After she said this, I didn't quite know what to do. Of course, I could have continued with the plan for intimacy. But that felt dirty now. Not because she's a mother, but because I feel like if I now have no interest in pursuing her seriously anymore, I shouldn't give her false hope by sleeping with her. I didn't quite know how to handle the situation. So when the time came to go to bed, I just kind of pretended to be too tired to do anything intimate and ended up going to sleep. She seemed visibly disappointed, but I didn't know what else to do. Fast forward a couple of days and we haven't spoken much since. Aside from casual friendly chat over text, I didn't really know what to say to her, if I'm honest. Eventually she sends me a voice message saying she thinks it's pretty shitty for me to friend zone her like this just because she's a mother. That she has value beyond her child. And she deserves a real man who can love her and her child. The friend that introduced us is fully on her side and being the same way towards me. Despite knowing from our time as friends that I have never wanted kids. I guess I could have been upfront immediately that I think this isn't going anywhere and ended the night the moment I found out. But I felt so awkward about it all, I just didn't know what to do. So, am I the asshole? TLDR, found out a girl I was dating had a kid. And it turned me off. Now she's mad at me for not wanting to be romantic anymore. Not the asshole. You have every right to your preference. The friend that introduced you two should have disclosed, as she should have. She was clearly testing the waters with the baby daddy comment. Biggest YTA for the friend who introduced you two, knowing your stance on children. Not the asshole. You could have gone about it in a better, more direct way. But not leading her on is the correct thing to do. Not the asshole. She was being deceptive, she's perfectly aware kids matter. Next time you think you'll start seeing someone, casually ask if they have kids or nicely say you aren't interested in people with children. Many women won't date a man with kids. It's fine. Not the asshole. I think it's disingenuous to not disclose having a child. Everyone knows it's a deal breaker for a significant amount of potential dates. Sounds like she was trying to reel you in first in hopes you'd be more receptive to the idea. Good on you for sticking to your guns. Not the asshole. My daughter 23 was asked out by M who had a child. They went out once. He was upfront that he had child. Daughter explained she was not intending children of her own, so did not want to assist raising someone else's child, so did not see relationship working in long term. Both were upfront with their needs. No one took offense, both went in other directions. No harm, no foul. It is actually chivalrous that you chose not to get intimate with a woman with whom you knew that you would not want to pursue a romantic relationship. Some people think that they can turn people who don't want kids because they as parents don't understand the concept of having no interest in being a parent. It's rough that your friend pulled this trick on you and put you in such an awkward situation. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You did the right thing by not hooking up. Of course she has value. But you don't want to lead her on and you aren't changing your mind. She's just going to have to come to grips with that. Good for you. Not the asshole. She has some set of balls on her to be angry with you for not wanting to date her. A real man should want to take care of her and someone else's kid. That's bullshit. Kick her out of the friend zone too. Intar. She should have told you she had a kid right away, and if your friend knew you were child-free they shouldn't have set you up. Not the asshole whatsoever. In fact, I think you acted very responsibly. Not wanting children is legitimate and you're allowed to feel that way. This coming from someone who was once a single mother. I don't agree that parenthood isn't relevant to new relationships. If you guys were getting close enough for intimacy, it had gone far enough to say something. Kids are a deal breaker for lots of people. Woman shrugging, light skin tone. When I was a dating single mom, I'd rather have known up front if someone wasn't into being a step parent. Not the asshole. People need to start stating things they carry that are considered deal breakers for many. The whole "I don't know you so I'm not telling you" is ridiculous and misleading. Not the asshole. Not wanting to date someone with kids is okay. It might limit your dating pool, but it's not doing something wrong. I just don't really like kids and have always been awkward around them. I prob wouldn't date someone with kids either because it's not like they wouldn't be involved in your life if you got serious. Not the asshole for having your preferences. And extra not the asshole for not sleeping with her. But you shouldn't have friend-zoned her without explaining why. Maybe the friend that introduced you didn't share that children are a deal breaker. But nothing irks me more than this ghosting mentality where people feel like they can't spare a minute to just explain why it didn't work out. Not the asshole. You did the right thing by making your boundaries clear rather than leading her on. Not the asshole. She knew telling you about the kid might jeopardize the relationship, but it was pretty shitty of her to not mention this major piece of info. Please learn to be more direct about your deal breakers with potential partners. That she has value beyond her child. And she deserves a real man who can love her and her child. She does deserve someone who can love her and her child. If that isn't you, that's okay. You did the right thing by not sleeping with her and then dumping her. Yes. You should have been upfront about it once you found out she had a child. But you still did the right thing. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, but you should have handled it better by telling her you don't date women with children instead of blowing her off. Just ask first from now on and save yourself and your impending dates the trouble. Not the asshole. You want something different? Just tell her straight up you're done now cause you do not want any children, including step kids. And she deserves someone who does. Am I the asshole for going home without my boyfriend because he wouldn't stop having conversations? My boyfriend and I were invited to one of our friends' birthday party yesterday. I had work early today, so we agreed on leaving early. Also, my boyfriend broke his foot, so I was in charge of driving. Around 11 p.m. I start to feel tired, so I told my boyfriend we were gonna go soon. He said yes. Let me just finish my conversation. I said okay. After 5 minutes of waiting, I tell him again that I was tired, so we needed to leave. He told me to wait 5 more minutes. But those 5 minutes quickly turned into 10, those 10 into 20, and 20 into 30 minutes. At this point, I was getting angry because he already promised me we'd leave early, but it was now close to midnight and he was still talking. I go to him again and tell him that if he's having fun and wants to stay, then I can ask his sister to drive him home as it's on her way. He said no and that he was coming. I told him that I was really tired and would leave without him if he wasn't there in 5 minutes. He said he'd be there. It's without surprise that after 5 minutes, he was still not here but was having another conversation with someone else. I go to him one last time and tell him I'm leaving. I guess he didn't heard because he didn't react. Before leaving, I go to his sister and ask if she can drive him home. She said she would, so I thanked her and I left. My boyfriend called me 10 minutes after to ask where I was. I told him I left because I was tired and he wouldn't leave. He called me an hour and hung up. He texted me right after and told me that I was an hour for leaving without him. That he was just talking with his friends and that it wouldn't have killed me to wait a little more. He blocked me right after that and slept at his sister's house. I texted her and she told me he just need time to cool down and that me leaving without him had really hurt him. No news since, from him or his sister. Was I the R to leave without him? Perhaps it's true that I could have waited till he finished talking. Not the asshole. The real giveaway is that it wouldn't have killed you to wait a little more. He had no intention of leaving early and was just lying to you to keep you quiet. 1. You set a boundary. He ignored it several times. 2. You made sure he had a lift home. 3. It's not safe to drive when you're overly tired. You did the right thing. 4. He blocked you, which is being petulant and immature. 5. You're better off without him if this is how he treats you. 6. Why would you continue to wait when he constantly kept breaking his word? 7. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You were very clear and reasonable with your boyfriend about your need to leave early. He was being disrespectful and selfish by ignoring you and continuing to talk with his friends. He also broke his promise to you and lied about coming soon. You did nothing wrong by leaving without him, especially since you arranged for his sister to drive him home. He owes you an apology. Not the asshole. Let him leave you blocked and move on. You really don't want to continue a relationship with someone like this. Red flags are everywhere. He blocked you. Get the F out right now, girl. That is a serious red flag. Not the asshole. His sister can keep him. It won't kill him to send one of his conversationalist friends to pick his stuff up where you leave it in trash bags outside your place where you have freshly changed locks. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You told him. And you kept your word. If he didn't want you to leave without him, he should have kept his. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend is selfish, prioritized his friends over you. He could have easily got a lift with his sister and let you go when you wanted. But you ended up staying an extra hour for him. But somehow you're the one who's the ag. And then blocking you. Is he 12? His brain is fully developed. Don't stay with him. He's done you a favor, and I bet it's not the only time he has thrown his toys out of the pram. Not the asshole. You had to ask his sister if she can drive him home. He is 27. Not 7. You should leave him. This time for good. Not the asshole. I would have left after the first 5 minutes turned into 10. No one messes with my sleep. Not the asshole, and your boyfriend is acting like a child. Not the asshole. You told him basically a full hour before he started talking to someone else. I assume you were paying enough attention to who he was chatting with to know if it was someone else. Which you said it was. Yeah, not the asshole. He needs to learn to listen to you when you have to work early and you're the DD designated driver. With a schedule. Very childish of him to block you. Childish of him not to care what you were saying. And then throw a tantrum like this. Good luck, op. Not the asshole. If he is really hurt by this to the point of blocking you, he must really emotional. Lol. Like, is it that big of a deal? If my sister said I'm taking you home, so left, I would have been like, oh okay. Cool. And that would be it. Fuck. It's happened to me before in a similar situation. You told him numerous times and arranged a ride for him. What's the problem? Not the asshole at all. He didn't want to leave and didn't care that you were tired and ready to go. Excuse me. But in what world are you tar? Even if you weren't driving, it would still be rude to hold someone up like that at a party. Especially when you have work in the morning. Not the asshole let him wallow in his own self-pity. Not the asshole. You gave him a warning prior to going. You let him know when you wanted to go. You reminded him you wanted to go. You gave him a final countdown to when you were leaving. At this point I think most people would have left without him. Making people wait for you like that is a power trip. It basically is saying that your needs are less important. I'm sorry that happened and I'm sorry he handled it so poorly. It could have killed you. My brother fell asleep while driving once and damn near killed 3 people. Himself included. Move on, this guy has zero respect for you, not the asshole. Not the asshole. You mentioned to him that you were tired and wanted to leave and he continued talking. When you were talking to his sister and she said he just needed time to cool off, I would have told her to tell him take all the time he needs after calling me an hanging up and blocking me. I wouldn't let him or anyone talk to you like that. You were clear with your intentions to leave. Because you had to work and for him to respond like going to happen. Not the asshole. He was totally selfish and treated you with a complete lack of respect while you did absolutely nothing wrong. Not the asshole. If I was in your shoes after 10 minutes I would told them you can stay but I'm leaving and no I'm not gonna be waiting. And let them figure a ride home if they weren't drunk. You actually did more than you were supposed and you're so to sulk about it and call you an asshole. My petty ass won't reach out until he apologizes for their behavior. Not the asshole. Driver calls the shots on when you leave. That's a rule older than cars. Trying to drag that out for more than half an hour. Then act hurt when you do what you told him you'd do. Is petty and manipulative. So why did you make this post without adding X before the boyfriend part? Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for reducing my involvement with my friend's daughter? I 33F have a friend Max 34 meters who is a single dad to Ava 6F. Ava's mum is not in the picture and gave full custody and rights to Max before she was even born. I agreed to help out Max with Ava and am very involved in her life. I will admit, I used to like Max, which is mainly why I agreed. But it was just a crush. And I got over it pretty soon after, but still help out with Ava. I get on very well with Ava and she calls me her aunt. Since then, I got a more demanding job and have a fiancé who I moved in with. His place is far from Max's and I find it harder to make time to meet Ava, but still try my best to see her. Now I am pregnant and my pregnancy is high risk. My fiancé and I agreed that I would take off time until the baby is born and would think about going back later. I currently work freelance and pick and choose what projects to take on. I told Max for the time being I would like to reduce the amount of times I see Ava, as I can't keep up with her in my condition. Max tried to negotiate dropping off Ava at mine, but me and my fiancé firmly said no. He works long hours and I can't be there for her one-to-one. Max and I still share the same friend group, so I will see Ava sometimes socially. So it's not like I have cut her out my life. Max is calling me tough for not helping look after Ava and that I am essentially abandoning her, and I have put him in the situation of explaining this to her. I feel bad for not being able to be around Ava as much, but currently have very little energy and have stuck to my decision. Not the asshole. You're not abandoning her. You're prioritizing the health of your own unborn child and yourself, as you should be doing. Explaining such a thing to a 6-year-old is probably very difficult. So I can understand having some problems there. But it sounds a little like Max is angry not to have free childcare anymore. She isn't your child. Sounds like he was using you as a babysitter substitute parent. He then tried to guilt you into going back on your statement. Not the asshole. YWBTA if you don't talk to Ava about this yourself. She doesn't know that you only started paying attention to her because you had a crush on her dad, and will just see it as a parental figure abandoning her. This will be traumatic for her if not handled correctly. I'm confused if you care for Ava or not. The way you write makes it seem like it's mostly been a chore having a relationship with her, when she obviously loves you like an aunt. If you can't give her as much attention, then you should definitely tell her that yourself in a kind way. Let her know you still care for her and send her cards or something. And can't you FaceTime her too? Max has to accept that your time will be limited when you have a new baby in your home and that family dynamics shift. But I would be upset if my daughter lost someone important in her life too. Not the asshole. But I'd be sure to take some time to explain to Ava that you're having a baby and that means you won't be spending as much time in person together, and offer to FaceTime or do something else to stay connected. It's important that you prioritize your family. But Ava should also be supported through this change, and cutting her out of your life completely would be a big scary change for her with no context. Matt is definitely the asshole though for trying to get free childcare from you because you had a crush on him. You made a promise because of your attraction to her parent. That is not something you should have done lightly. A child having adults disappear out of their life or greatly reducing contact leaves a kid with abandonment issues. You are allowed to focus on your family, but that 6-year-old will be hurt by your actions. Can you FaceTime her so she does not feel completely abandoned and replaced by your child? Boy, she is going to hurt a lot over that. Not the asshole. If you're doing someone a favor, you're not an R for no longer being able or willing to do the favor. He has been inconvenienced, not wronged. And the inconvenience is his own, not yours. Not the asshole. Max is taking advantage of you. If he is so interested in your relationship with Ava, he can visit with her and do his own parenting. First, Max for expecting OP to continue to help. But I suspect he's more upset with OP abandoning Ava emotionally and leaving him to clean up after. He still sucks for helping create this situation. You created this situation. You made yourself a fixture in this child's life. You are the one emotionally abandoning them. They are 6. Will they get over or past it? Maybe will they have trouble forming trust in new people due to feelings of abandonment? Probably. You're the asshole for getting involved with this girl's life because you had a little crush on her dad. You're NTA for focusing on your baby. But you are abandoning the relationship you had with her. You're the asshole based off your post. You can't just abandon Ava. You made the choice of being heavily involved. At least attempt video calls. It seems more like you're right-sizing your time spent with Max and Ava to be a more appropriate fit with your actual relationship with them. Relationships change over time. It should be no surprise to Max that you're living your own life and that involves a significant other and children of your own. Did Max think you'd always hang around as a sort of surrogate mom for Ava? Not the asshole. Did everyone miss out where she basically agreed to help out and be involved in Ava's life because she had a crush on Max and is now dipping out because now she has a fiancé and is pregnant? She is absolutely allowed to change her mind. But that also doesn't mean it doesn't absolutely suck for this little girl to be abandoned not only by her mom but now by OP. If you ever really cared for Ava, let Ava know you still care. And that work and new baby are adult things that are taking time away but doesn't mean you care any less. You suck because you started this bonding with Ava as a way to try and get involved romantically with Max, which now has led you in this situation. Max sucks because he treating you like a built-in babysitter, which I am assuming he used to you always being there whenever he needed you. You need to sit down and let Max know that you still want to be in Ava's life but with your high-risk pregnancy and then the arrival of the baby you are going to have to scale back on the amount of time you see her. Then talk with Ava. Max needs to be a grown-up and raise his kid himself. And you need to be one too. You're about to have a baby. You need to be able to manage your relationship with a 6-year-old. Call Ava yourself. Explain you can't visit as much because you're pregnant and don't feel good. Set up expectations of when you will visit. Even if it's once a month instead of twice a week. Or whatever. I mean, yeah, you're the asshole to Ava for even trying to be something in her life in the first place. You did it because you were interested in her dad. And when he didn't want to date you or it didn't work out, whichever reason it was, would then make you an asshole to any other guy you dated in the future. Because what guy wants a girl who is helping raise another kid with another guy and that kid isn't even hers? I had a crush and decided that the way to Max's heart was through his daughter. It didn't work, so I moved on and am now ditching a child who loves me because she was only an ends to a means for me. I don't care how it hurts her. I'm just going to go LC without explaining it to her. You're the asshole. Would I be the asshole if I told my wife that her brother, wife and baby cannot visit us for 2 weeks? My wife and I live on a seasonal tourist island in the Mediterranean in a beautiful but small Spanish stone finca on a large orchard. My wife does not work and I have a seasonal business. From March to October I work insane hours. Average 12 hours a day. Usually in split shifts with a siesta in the afternoon. Where usually I come home, eat, have a power nap, then back to work. This month I will do even more hours than usual as August is peak tourist season. On the upside, in the winter I don't need to work because I make all my money in the season. And my wife doesn't need to work at all. Due to my unusual schedule. And after my own family came to visit for 2 long weeks 4 years ago, I decided that having guests in our house for more than a week is just too much during the season. In winter I'm fine with it. My workload, plus having people staying that are on vacation is just too much for me. I need my downtime or I burn out. A week I enjoy. But any more and I start just getting frustrated and need my personal space back. My wife has some friends coming to stay first week of September for 4 nights and I'm really looking forward to it. I know these girls. And they are great fun. Our kind of people. No problem. The other night, my wife said that her brother, his wife and their toddler will come and stay the last 2 weeks of September and I was a bit confused. As we had discussed our maximum 1-week strategy many times before. I said that I'd love to have them for a week and reminded my wife that we already have guests a week before that. My wife starts to get upset with me and says 10 days. I remind her that they also have an 18-month-old. Our house is far from child-friendly, we are child-free, and that it will be just too much for me. Right at the end of the season. She thinks I'm being an R because her brother needs a summer beach vacation and we haven't spent a lot of time with them since the baby was born. Which is all true. I do really like Bill and his family. But also, they do not really speak much English and I don't speak their language. So it takes even more energy to deal with that from my side. So Reddit. Would I be the asshole for enforcing the 1-week stay rule? Or should I cave and keep the peace to my own detriment? My wife is pretty upset with me about it. Bring on the judgment. Edit so many great perspectives. Sorry if I don't answer right now. I'm at work, ha 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 ha. WNBTA. The week rule was already established prior to this situation. She needs to respect that and your busy work schedule. Hosting is exhausting. Why WNBTA? Tell your wife 2 weeks is fine as long as they start their stay after the crazy tourist season. Why WNBTA? It's unfair of your wife to back out of your very reasonable agreement. She wants to prioritize her brother, his family over your needs and your previous agreement. Could you suggest that her brother still come, but not stay at your house? Or only stay at your house for a few days? Of course this would be more expensive for him, but would allow him to vacation and for her to spend time with him and his family while still respecting your agreement and needs. Not the asshole. He does not need a summer beach vacation. Not the asshole. She shouldn't have just announced what would be happening. You both had an agreement. I know what it's like to be drained from working ridiculous hours. Perhaps since she doesn't work, she doesn't understand that. I think a week is plenty. She thinks I'm being an R because her brother needs a summer beach vacation. That's not a need. It's a want. Hopefully she'll come around. 2 weeks with a baby is a lot. Even if it wasn't in the middle of your busy time. Not the asshole. In my community we have a saying that goes like this. House guests are like fish. They stink after 3 days. I wouldn't want them for more than a week either. Not the asshole. You made a very reasonable agreement that your wife should be abiding by. It'd be a little different if there was a true emergency and they needed help, but a vacation is not enough justification to put your physical and mental health at risk. Depending on what your business is, could be a liability to not be fully alert and functional from lack of sleep, burning out. YWNBTA. And you might reconsider allowing any guests during the high season. It sounds as if you have plenty of times during the year in which you could host people. You're too busy right now. Not the asshole. Your work is your livelihood. And it is seasonal. You have to concentrate to get it done. And I would imagine you could lose out on future work if you are too tired and distracted to do it. Well, put your foot down. Your wife can apologize to her brother for jumping ahead to invite he and his family before checking with you. I mean, most adults can understand that when you don't go to a person's place of business and endanger their work life. Right? Home is your place of business. They can visit in winter if they want to spend more than 1 week. Not the asshole. This seems reasonable considering all the work you'll be doing that season. Your wife is the though, for telling her brother and his family that they can stay without consulting you. Her brother does not need a 2-week-long beach vacation with free lodging. He wants one, don't we all? Which is very different. YWNBTA. They can come for a week or they can come in the off-season. WNBTA, my friend. At the end of the day, you know your limits and have discussed them and made agreements based on them that have done well for years now. You're still fine with 7 days. Is 7 days not enough for a vacation? Could they not stay elsewhere after those 7 days are up? I mean, that's still a whole week of no hotel fees. As a general rule, you should not schedule house guests without getting the thumbs up from your spouse first. Not the asshole. Nobody needs a summer beach vacation, and if they do, tell them to find a resort. A week of free room and board is plenty accommodation considering they're bringing a toddler with them. We had discussed our maximum 1-week strategy many times before. As long as this discussion was genuinely had by the both of you and agreed to by the both of you, then not the asshole. A decision of this nature made by both of you can only be overturned by both of you. Not the asshole. You and your wife had an agreed upon rule of no guests staying more than a week during busy season. You aren't saying they cannot come at all, just that they cannot stay longer than a week. It's not a new thing, and it's not just aimed at her brother but everyone. Stand your ground on this and say you'll love to have them again in November when the busy season is over and you can spend time visiting instead of working. She does appreciate it. I had a motorbike accident years ago and she worked and kept the household afloat. I told her to take some time off to pursue her passions for as long as she needed because financially we can do it. I think you're getting comments from a lot of North Americans who have internalized capitalism to the point that they think that earning money determines one's character and worth as a person. You sound like a great partner with a mostly great relationship. And also not the asshole. It sounds like your wife needs to start helping you with your work. She doesn't seem to appreciate why you have that arrangement. Not the asshole. The flights will be cheaper in the off-season. Am I the asshole for telling my mom I won't watch my siblings and instead went to the movies? I live with my mom, her fiancé, and my 4-year-old half-siblings twins. I have been working as a barista since 14 years old, so I have saved quite a bit of money and hope I can leave my mom the moment I go into college. Why? My mom had me 16 and just not a very good mom. She was still a child when she had me. so I got a very different version of her than my siblings do. We were poor. She took out her stress and anger out on me a lot and was never really present in my life. As I got older and started working, she started charging me rent and only paid my rent once I turned 16. The only reason I have my license is so I can drive my siblings around when needed or run errands. For her, I spend a lot of my time working and usually watch my siblings 4 times a week so she and her fiancé can go out or whatever she needs to do. I make the twins dinner. I give them a bath. I read them stories and tuck them in, all of that. Anyways, my mom said I had to watch the twins, but I had told her I had asked to go to the movies with friends a week ago and she said yes. She said she doesn't remember that. I must be making it up. So the answer is no. I had to watch the twins. I asked her if I could get paid and she said no. Because I'm family. I told her I put the twins down to bed more than she does during the week and it's not fair. I didn't ask to have siblings and I didn't choose to have them. It's not my responsibility. My mom said she had it worse. She did what do with the twins, but every day. I reminded my mom that was the consequences of her actions. However, I never got pregnant. I told my mom I was going to the movies and she would have to find someone else if she wasn't going to pay me. I ended up going and now I'm sitting here a few days later feeling guilty. But on the other hand, I rarely ever get to do things with friends. I never ask anything from my mom. I'm a straight A 4.0 student. I don't get in trouble in school or with the law. I've never dated or smoked or drank or even been to a party. I work, sleep, study and watch my siblings. I'm allowed to have fun. However, my mom is refusing to talk unless it's to remind me I'm selfish and a disrespectful daughter to me. So I don't care if I'm in the wrong or not. Please make sure that your mother does not have access to your money. Edit not the asshole. How'd I forget to put that in? SMDH. Not the asshole. Your mother is horrible. She is essentially treating you like a free live-in babysitter. You did the right thing by standing your ground. Is there a possibility you could go live with your grandparents or father? Perhaps another relative until you turn 18. To be honest, this doesn't sound like a healthy environment for you to be living in. Not the asshole. Please call CPS on your mother or ask a trusted adult to do it for you. You should not be paying rent or spending so much time watching your siblings. She's the parent and has to provide for you guys. Not the asshole. Look, I'm all for being a good daughter, son to your parents, but you've gone above and beyond what most kids will ever do, and she's still treating you like shit. I don't blame you for wanting to get out of that situation the first chance you get. Don't feel bad. You deserve some time for yourself too. You're only 16, you're not a mother. Start stashing cash, birth certificate, etc. Keep your grades up so scholarships will be available to you. You can set yourself up for a quick exit the second you're 18. I mean 1 minute after midnight on your 18th birthday. Get out and don't look back. Block her number. Get counseling to help you make that clean break. She's eating you alive. A bank can help you find out if she's tried or has credit in your name. Get assistance with blocking that from happening also. I'll be out here praying for you. Not the asshole. It is illegal for your mother to be charging you rent as a minor. She is legally and financially responsible for you until you are 18. Please look into this. Stop paying her rent. If she can afford to go out and have fun, she doesn't need your rent money. And if she threatens to kick you out, let her know CPS is only a phone call away. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I was 18 when my youngest sister was born, and standing my ground caused World War III, but you are right. You didn't agree to have kids, and I would stick with your moving out plan. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to charge rent to your kid under 18. Voluntarily helping with family expenses or something like paying your own phone internet is okay. A fake. But housing is your right that your parents must provide until you turn 18. Not the asshole. What you are experiencing is parentification. Your mom is making you raise your twin siblings. And since you are underage, your mom shouldn't be charging you any rent. If there isn't anyone else in your family you can live with, hang in there and move out the second you turn 18 and don't look back. Not the asshole. You aren't the live-in help, and you probably need to point this out, so please don't feel guilty. Rather than fight with your mom, have you considered trying to negotiate with her and asked for a discount on your rent in exchange for looking after the kids? Not the asshole. You are not the parent. Parentification is a real thing, and charging rent to a young teenager sucks majorly. Not the asshole. Your mom sucks. Don't give her more money. She's legally obligated to feed. Call CPS. Your mom will never appreciate what you do for her. Not the asshole. She tells you that you get nothing for free. But she expects you to watch the twins for free. Find the mistake. Concentrate on your school and try to move out as soon as possible. You're a good kid. But she is stealing your childhood. It was her decision to have a child early, and now she is stealing your teenage years as a revenge. That's not fair. A 16-year-old shouldn't pay for her mother's mistakes. Not the asshole. Keep your money away from her, and if she's giving you the cold shoulder, give it right back. Don't let it bother you. Not the asshole. You are being parentified, form of abuse by your mother. It's not legal for her to charge you rent. She is responsible for your upkeep until you are 18. Check and secure your money so she doesn't have access to it. Please see if you qualify for emancipation op. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Stop paying this woman rent. It is her legal responsibility to provide for you. If she kicks you out, call the police. Not the asshole. Dear God, sweetie, your mom has been taking advantage of you. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to charge a minor rent from where you live. Please involve your trusted relatives or family friends, or even any adult you trust, and make sure they don't get any access to your money. She chose to have you them. You're not in any way responsible for her doings. Not the asshole. You feel guilty because your mom makes you feel guilty, so you feel obligated to do all this stuff. You are completely right. You never asked her to make sacrifices to have you at 16. She did that, and she can't expect an IOU for that. You're 16. It's illegal for your mom to charge you rent. Talk to a counselor at school. Am I the asshole for asking my husband if he washed his hands? My husband and me seem to have different standards on hygiene and cleanliness. I might be overly worried about germs to him, but whenever we go places I want us to wash our hands. When we get back, he started making food today for himself, and I asked him if he washed his hands as a question, and he said, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And this led to a fight where I told him if he would just do it I wouldn't feel a need to ask, and he said I'm belittling him and then raised his voice and got mad. I told him not to talk to me like that. It's like getting to me that at night he doesn't always brush his teeth, never flosses, etc. So am I belittling and in the wrong? Not the asshole. All these people who think you have a germ issue are baffling. It is standard good practice to wash your hands after coming home from being out in public. It is also food prep 101 that you wash your hands before starting food prep. If people don't want to do these things, fine. But they shouldn't be getting defensive about it and asking what the fuck is wrong with you in response to asking your partner if they washed their hands is over the top aggressive. I hope you aren't treated this poorly on a regular basis. Not the asshole. I don't want to eat after someone with nasty hands has already touched the food. Not the asshole. Not washing his hands and handling your food if it's only his food. That's his problem, I guess. Is gross. If I read correctly, his dental hygiene is lacking too. I'd cool down and then address this. I could not be with someone with these issues. Not the asshole. His reaction was hostile and inappropriate. As his spouse, you should want the best out of each other. My dad doesn't wash his hands, even when he uses the bathroom. Sir, I feel your pain. I think from his reaction, he's a bit insecure about this habit. Genuinely, was it not an issue prior to marriage? Not the asshole. It's just common sense to wash hands when you get back from going out. Because you live together, his actions or lack thereof directly affect you. If he gets sick, you're going to get sick too. He owes you and himself the courtesy of having basic hygiene. Just curious. How often are you sick? Do you feel you've gotten sick because of his lack of hygiene or from his spreading germs? Your answer won't make you right or wrong. But I'm just wondering. These are getting ridiculous. What is it with so many posts where husbands have bad personal hygiene? I know there are some posts about women. Doesn't always clean his teeth. Doesn't wash his hands. Did the pandemic never happen? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. The bar for men is so low it's in hell. I would go with nah. It's kind of an incompatibility issue. There are people who are more keen on washing hands and hygiene and people who are not. I believe that you cannot really change a person at his/her core unless he/she really wants it. This is part of it. As if and how many children one wants and how one handles money or what is important in life. Someone commented that you should get divorced. It's pretty much always the little stuff that do it. It's not about washing hands per se, but more of your personal values. You can't infantilize him. You can't follow him around and make sure he washes his hands. He made food for himself and he can face his own consequences of not washing his hands. Should he be cleaning himself? Yeah. The only leg you have to stand on is if it affects you. He wouldn't be able to touch my food or touch my private parts until he washes his hands. He can't kiss me without brushing his teeth. Then maybe he'd get into the habit because you're not willing to sacrifice your own health and comfort because he's unhygienic. Leave him alone unless you're affected. Not the asshole. Hygiene matters. It matters a lot. Not the asshole. We are still literally in a pandemic that the government refuses to acknowledge. Washing your hands isn't hard. Also, leaping to what the fuck is wrong with you is a red flag the size of Texas. What a jump to make. Not gonna lie. I barely wash my hands compared to some of y'all. I've worked construction for a number of years and the opportunity to wash your hands sometimes isn't there. I've eaten with sheetrock dust all over me. Paint, sawdust, etc. Now if I can wash my hands when they are that dirty I will. But I generally only wash my hands if they feel dirty or are visibly dirty or after using the bathroom. If I touch a doorknob or leave the house and I'm not touching greasy shit then I don't care. I rarely ever get sick as well. Not the asshole. Basic hygiene is expected from an adult. Not the asshole. Did he wash his hand? Due. 'Cause it's nasty if he didn't. I refuse to believe this post is real. He probably knows, and if he chooses not to wash his hands is a conscious choice, and you asking is treating him like a child. I think you're not compatible if him washing his hands is very important to you and he prefers not to wash his hands. You're the asshole. You weren't really asking him if he washed his hands. I mean, if he said no and continued on his merry way. What then? By asking the question, you were passive-aggressively telling him to wash his hands and making a judgment about his cleanliness. If you are concerned about his health, just say that. If germs freak you out, just say that. Making him feel like a child is not going to encourage him to listen. It's more likely to do the opposite. I'll wash up before making food. But I don't wash my hands every time I come back home. Feta being out. Not the asshole. We wash our hands when we get home and before preparing food. We also brush our teeth. Does he always yell at you? That's a deal breaker to me. Not the asshole. Not washing hands before preparing food is nasty anyway, but we just went through a pandemic. How can one not wash their hands? Info. Do you ask it regularly, or was this the first time? I would bet money he doesn't wash his hands after visiting the urinal. Men seem to consistently not act like adults and then get mad that their wives treat them like children. Not the asshole. It's dirty outside. If he gets sick, you could too. His hygiene is awful. Not the asshole, and his overreaction and disrespect over a simple question is concerning. I think it is gross to eat and prepare food before washing your hands. Listen. IDK if I have a normal family. But in my house, husband, myself, daughter, and son, we always remind each other to wash our hands when we get home. Always. And always have. That's been the norm since I can remember. Not only that, but before we eat, we all wash our hands. I will not let my husband get frisky me with unwashed hands. Absolutely not. I tell him he can give me a rooty and that works. Lol. Yuck. I always wash my hands as soon as I get back in the house from being out. Not the asshole. That's vile and nasty on his part. Face vomiting. Honestly, he probably doesn't as much, but at the same time nagging about it and belittling him isn't making it better. It is probably making him resent you and proper hygiene. You are both the Yes, you are belittling him and treating him like a toddler. He was making food for himself, not you. He probably overreacted due to your constant nagging. Am I the asshole for refusing to do housework while my boyfriend goes to work, even though I don't have a job? I have been dating my boyfriend for 5 months now and he's amazing. However, one disagreement we often have is over housework. My boyfriend thinks that I should do housework, seeing as he works 48 hours a week, and I'm not in employment. I have always refused. We don't live together. We live in separate houses and pay separate rent. I afford rent through my university student loan, as well as tutoring and babysitting part-time. So in my opinion, I have no reason to clean his house when I have my own that I pay for. My boyfriend thinks it's unfair that I don't really work, yet have enough money to rent. In his eyes, I should do household chores for him, because he is the breadwinner. The thing is, I don't see him as the breadwinner. He doesn't pay for my rent. I do. We aren't married. And I'm still in education. I can't tell if I'm being unreasonable. I cook for him. And occasionally help with chores. But I refuse to be a full-time maid for him. Then again, he works so hard whereas I only work a few hours a week. Am I the asshole? Wait. So you don't live together? You pay your own separate rent for your own separate home that you clean maintain yourself. And he thinks you owe it to him to come do the same for his home that you don't live in. Not the asshole. This guy is trying to take advantage of you. Faye www boy. I got whiplash from this post. Not the asshole. And honestly, head for the hills. It's been 5 months and he is showing you exactly who he is. He wants a bang maid. Not a partner. Huge red flags op. This is not a normal request at all. 5 months into a relationship and he's already talking about being a breadwinner and trying to distribute household chores and rent when not even living together. That is batshit insane. Block his ass. Not the asshole. Edit. Thank you everyone for the upvotes and awards. I really appreciate it. Not the asshole. While a 6-year age gap in and of itself is not a big deal, the specific age gap you guys have is often problematic. Because a 25-year-old wanting to date a literal teenager usually signals that the 25-year-old is both immature and controlling. Case in point. Your boyfriend is being immature and controlling here. He's also being ridiculous. You're a student, you're not his bang maid. Do you really want to waste your early 20s with this guy? 'Cause he sounds lame. Also, if you do make the mistake of moving in with this guy, mark my words, he will become even more controlling. He's looking for a tradwife. You in danger, girl. Run. Not the asshole. Oh Jesus Christ. Dump this guy immediately. He's looking for a teenager who is naive enough to accept being his bangmaid, and that doesn't appear to be you. Don't let it be. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You don't live together and he doesn't provide for you. Why would you need to do his housework? Also, the fact that he is dating someone still in his teens, it is red flag that he is looking for someone he can manipulate easily into fee labor. Not the asshole. Like others said, he wants a bangmaid, not a partner. I cook for him and occasionally help with chores, but I refuse to be a full-time maid for him. And stop this right now. He's a big boy and he has several hours a day free. He can cook his own food while he's living by himself. Is this for realsies? You don't live together and he doesn't pay your bills, but he wants you to come over and play maid. What in the Handmaid's Tale is this shit? Girl. Run. Location flag, 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 location flag. PS obviously not the asshole. Not the asshole. You don't live together and he doesn't fund your lifestyle. You pay everything for yourself with student loans. He is too entitled. It's rude that he asked you to be his unpaid maid. Stop helping him with things. Ditch him. He is rotten. Run the Barbie test, take him to the movies. Not the asshole I clean up after myself. He wants you to be responsible for his laundry, etc. Aged 19. Please tell me you see your life as more than this. That you imagine yourself leading a better life. With or without a better partner. We live in separate houses. And pay separate rent. He wants a housewife. You're in danger. Run. Not the asshole. Good Lord. Honey. If he needs housework done, he can hire a maid. Not the asshole, and I would consider if this relationship is worth it. Not the asshole. Run from that. He's a manipulative that trying to groom you. You have work, it's your education. And you have your own place to keep. Grown-ass man can clean his own place. He's not the breadwinner, you don't live together. Shouldn't even be cooking for him. Not the asshole. You do housework in your own home. Being in a relationship with someone whom you don't live with carries no obligation to do their housework also. That's ridiculous. I was super ready to tell you that you were indeed off the title until I realized that you're in school and don't live together. Your boyfriend unlocked a whole new level of entitlement. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Dump the BF. Not the asshole. Do not become his maid. You aren't doing nothing. You are a student. That is a full-time job. Plus you're working part-time as a tutor and babysitter. And you are caring for your own house. Tell him that he has to clean his own place. If he's unwilling to do that now, imagine what a horrible partner he would be down the road if you actually did live together. Not the asshole. Also, dump him. He dates a woman barely legal because he wants someone naive enough to buy that kind of logic. Run. Not the asshole. He wants a maid. I am shaking my head at the audacity of him to demand you go over to his home and clean up after him. This red flag is hitting you on the head. Him declaring himself the breadwinner now, when you don't live together, and your finances are separate, is mind-boggling. Run. Please run. In his eyes, I should do household chores for him. Because he is the breadwinner. He cannot be a breadwinner for someone who doesn't not live off of his earnings. He just wants a free maid. At first I was like wow, but it you don't live together had me not the asshole. Not the asshole. His house. His chores. His responsibility to get them done. You are under no obligation at all to be his maid. More so given how you live separately.